Hey everyone! Today we're going to explore the long and interesting history between Korea and China. These two countries have been connected for thousands of years through stories, trade, and culture, shaping each other in many ways. The relationship between Korea and China goes way back to ancient times, even to myths and legends. Trade was one of the first ways they connected. As far back as the Bronze and Iron Ages, they exchanged raw materials and goods, which kept their connection strong for centuries. But it wasn't just trade that brought them together. People escaping wars in China, especially during a chaotic time called the Warring States period in the 4th century BCE, moved to Korea, bringing their knowledge, traditions, and skills. Over time, many travelers like diplomats, monks, and scholars traveled between the two lands, spreading Chinese culture throughout Korea. China's influence can be seen everywhere in ancient Korean life. Korea learned about writing, religion, farming, making ceramics, and even building styles from China. But Koreans didn't just copy these things. They often added their own unique ideas and even improved on them. Historian M.J. Seth explains this relationship well. He says that while Koreans borrowed a lot from China, they stayed proud of their own culture and identity. Even though Korea followed China's tributary system, where the Korean king showed respect to the Chinese emperor, it didn't mean Korea was ruled by China. This system was mostly symbolic, and Korea remained an independent country. Whenever China tried to interfere in Korea's internal matters, Koreans stood their ground and resisted. To understand this relationship better, let's look at some key moments in history. First, there's Goguryeo, Korea's first state. Archaeologists have found evidence that tribes from Manchuria, Siberia, and China brought important skills to Korea, like working with metal and growing rice, during the Neolithic period. According to Korean mythology, a wise man named Jija, or Chitsa in Chinese, came from China with 5,000 followers and settled in Goguryeo. When Dangun, the founder of Goguryeo, decided to step down and meditate on a mountain, Jija became king in 1122 BCE. While this story might be a legend, it shows how Iron Age culture may have come to Korea. Goguryeo rulers even used the Chinese word Wang, meaning king, showing China's early influence. Archaeological finds, like Chinese crescent-shaped knife coins, also show evidence of trade between the two regions. Goguryeo grew wealthier thanks to better iron tools from China, which helped improve farming. In the Dedong River area, tombs from this time reveal a mix of Chinese and Korean practices. These tombs often contained valuable goods, horse gear, and even slaves, reflecting Chinese traditions. A big change happened during the 4th century BCE, when wars in China pushed refugees into Korea. Later, during the Han Dynasty, China set up military colonies called commanderies in northern Korea and Manchuria. These colonies, like the Lelang Commandery, became important centers for trade and cultural exchange. Lasting from 108 BCE to 313 CE, Lelang brought Chinese goods and customs directly to Korea and had a lasting impact on the region. As Korea entered the Three Kingdoms period, the relationship with China evolved. This era saw the rise of three Korean kingdoms, Baekje, Goguryeo, and Silla, along with the Gaya Confederation. These kingdoms often competed with each other and sometimes with China. Despite the conflicts, trade and cultural exchange between Korea and China continued to grow. During this time, Korea took advantage of China's political instability after the fall of the Han Dynasty and adopted the best ideas from Chinese culture while developing their own. And Baekje and Gaya, two significant kingdoms in ancient Korea, connected with China in ways that shaped their histories. The Gaya Confederation, a group of small states in southern Korea, had strong trade ties with Han China. Archaeologists found 1st century CE Chinese coins at Gaya, which proves this connection. Gaya's potters also used sloping kilns, a technique likely influenced by Chinese methods. Gaya exported iron, gold, and horses to China, and in return, they received silk, tea, and writing materials. The cultural exchange was just as important. Gaya adopted the Chinese writing system and even used the title Wang for their kings, just like in China. They blended Chinese ideas in literature, burial practices, and art with their own traditions. Baekje, another major kingdom, embraced Buddhism in 384 CE, thanks to the Indian monk Marananta. Though Buddhism began in India, it came to Korea through China, where it had already taken on unique Chinese features. Baekje also adopted Confucianism, which influenced their government, social systems, and ethical values. Confucian principles shaped family life and politics, while Buddhist teachings inspired creativity in architecture, art, and literature. The northern kingdom of Goguryeo had an equally active relationship with China. Goguryeo exported gold, silver, pearls, and textiles, and imported weapons, silk, and writing tools from China. They adopted Chinese coins, poetry styles, and art motifs, such as celestial designs in tombs. In 372 CE, they made Buddhism their official religion, brought to them by the monk Shundao. This replaced the earlier shamanistic beliefs. The establishment of a national Confucian academy reflected the growing influence of Chinese philosophies. But the relationship wasn't always peaceful. Goguryeo frequently clashed with Chinese dynasties. In 598 CE, China's Sui dynasty sent an army of 300,000 to attack Goguryeo, but failed due to bad weather. In 612 CE, the Sui launched another invasion, which ended disastrously at the Battle of Salsu River. Legend says that only 2,700 of the 300,000 soldiers made it back to China. These defeats weakened the Sui dynasty, leading to its fall. However, the Tang dynasty that followed continued to push into Goguryeo territory. To defend itself, Goguryeo built a 480-kilometer defensive wall by 628 CE. In the south, Silla also had strong ties with China. From the 6th century CE, Silla adopted Buddhism as its official religion, while keeping some traditional shamanistic practices. Silla's rulers used the Chinese title Wang and followed Chinese governance models. Trade thrived, with Silla sending gold, horses, and luxury goods to China and receiving silk, books, and silver in return. During the Tang dynasty, Silla's relationship with China deepened. Tang military support helped Silla defeat rival kingdoms, leading to the unification of the Korean peninsula. However, Silla maintained its independence, even as it adopted many Chinese customs. After unification, the Unified Silla Kingdom continued its close relationship with China. Chinese culture strongly influenced Silla's education system and government. Confucianism and Buddhism remained central, with a national Confucian academy established in 682 CE, and a state examination system introduced in 788 CE. Trade between the two nations flourished. Korea exported goods like ginseng, metals, and textiles to China, while Chinese luxury items enriched Korean society. At the same time, the northern Korean state of Balhae interacted with China as well. Though Balhae sometimes clashed with both China and Silla, it also engaged in trade and diplomacy. Balhae thrived by trading with Japan and other neighbors. However, in the 10th century CE, Balhae was conquered by the Khitan tribes, marking the end of its influence. These connections between Korea and China during ancient times were a mix of trade, cultural exchange, and occasional conflict. They laid the groundwork for Korea's future development, while preserving its unique identity. The influence of these early interactions is still visible in Korean culture today.